This program is brought to you by the Kentucky Small Business Development Center in Louisville. We provide the professional expertise, tools, and information necessary to help you make sound business decisions. Thank you to the U.S. Small Business Administration for co-sponsoring our program and to our host organization, the University of Kentucky. Contact us at 502-625-0123 to get started.
Welcome, everybody, to another Toolkit Tuesday. I'm Dave Etkin. I'm the director of the Small Business Development Center here in Louisville, Kentucky. Glad you can join us today and take a few minutes out of your busy day to join us. Today, we're going to be talking about Yelp and how important it is in driving your marketing strategy forward with your business. And with us today, I have Emily Hagedorn, who is with Yelp, kind of walk us through some great tips and tricks for Yelp. And then we also have Don and Ann. Both are heavy Yelp users, and we'll be able to talk to them about their experiences using them on a daily basis in their businesses. Also, Ann's one of our coaches here at the SBDC. You can always reach out to her for some help if you need to. Also, as we go along, if you have any questions, just put them in the chat. We'll be happy to kind of get to those whenever we have a minute towards the end. And this is a great opportunity for you to really get all your questions answered, pose some kind of what ifs, and really get some help from some real experts in Yelp and using that in your business. So with that, Emily, are you there with us today?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, do this today. I'm so excited. Well, I guess, can I go ahead and share my screen?
You sure can. Let's get started. There we go.
Let's see. Is that working for hopefully everybody?
Good. So just again, before we get going here, just if you would just try the chat out real quick and just say hello and tell us where you're joining us from, so we can make sure that you can hear us and we can see your chat and get your questions answered. So if you have, just take a second and kind of say hello.
Yeah, and please share questions as we go along. This is kind of a shortened presentation from what I normally give, and so I'm going to be kind of going through some stuff pretty quickly, but happy to go back through it in detail. You know, as we kind of go back and ask questions after this is over. Let's see. Go ahead and get started. So hi, my name is Emily Hagedorn. I'm the community manager for Yelp in Louisville. I've been with Yelp for to be 8 years this October, which kind of blows my mind a little bit. But as I said, if you have any questions after this, emilyh@yelp.com as well as louisville@yelp.com, come straight to me. Happy always to kind of talk to businesses and help them, you know, figure out what they can do with Yelp, and a little bit more about with my job. So as a community manager, when I work with businesses, most of what I do is help give them talk about the free tools that they have through Yelp. So I don't sell ads. That's a completely separate department. And everything I talk about today is free for businesses to do if they'd like to do it. And again, getting right into it just because we're limited on time and definitely want to give enough time for Ann and Dawn to talk after this. But I'm going to go through kind of some of the free tools at the beginning. I go into more statistics when I give the longer presentation, but some that just really stuck out to me. This is from a study that came out a couple years ago. But 97% of people make a purchase after visiting Yelp that we surveyed. 51% transact with businesses they found on Yelp within a day and 90% within a week. And then when we've done this study year after year, this time frame that people are transacting with businesses has actually gotten quicker. And so I think it's helpful to realize when people are coming to Yelp using reviews, they're actively making a buying decision. And so when I talk to businesses, I talk about how can they get their message out there and close that loop as easy and quickly as possible, since people are looking to make a purchase. So business.yelp.com is the first place to go if you haven't claimed your page. It's free to do. And then there's also a Yelp for Business app. It's called Yelp for Business. And so more than anything, if you haven't started there yet, definitely, I'm going to put the link in the chat right now. definitely start there. That's the best way to do it. And you can, with the app, you can get a lot of the functionality from the desktop, and it makes it just a little bit more easier, accessible for people to use it. So business information. So once you claim your page, this is kind of what it looks like when you come into it. And business information is usually where I tell people to start. Obviously, name, address, phone, website, that might seem basic, but I come across several businesses that, maybe their name doesn't match what they have on social media. Make this consistent, give this people the information, how best they can get in touch with you. Categories, you can have up to 3 categories on your page. So, pick the obvious ones. Like if you're an Italian restaurant, pick Italian. But, say you have a bunch of TVs and you want people to come to your place to watch basketball games. Maybe you want sports bar on there as well. So think about the type of customers that you want to attract and see if you can fit that as best you can with categories. And then attributes. There's a number of attributes that you can choose for your profile for free. Over the last year, these are just some that have been added. So Black owned, Latinx owned, women owned, LGBTQ owned, Asian owned. And over the last year, searches for Black owned businesses were up 2,400%. And so whether it's something that people are searching for from the beginning, or maybe it's when they're trying to decide between 2 or 3 different businesses, the fact that you're women owned or whatnot could be something that tips, your business in their favor. So if you're comfortable and you fit into one of these categories, I definitely recommend that you turn them on for your page. Hours is also one of those things that I feel like can be easily overlooked, but can make a big difference. There is a functionality on search that says open now, and we're finding more people are using that since they're actively making that business decision. And so make sure your hours are correct. Yelp also in the last year turned on at the top of business pages, it'll say hours updated within the last 3 months or within the last year. So if you haven't touched your page in a while, definitely look at your hours and make sure they're correct. And then similarly, specialties, history, meet the owner. This is additional information that you can fill out on your page. And this is all searchable too. So if you think about what you want people to search you for. If you have a special dish, you have a specialty in general, and make sure this is listed here. You want to keep this section conversational. This isn't about, Google SEO where you just want a lot of terms listed, but work those in and they'll help you show up in search a little bit better. Plus it just adds a face to your business. And then real quick, going over photos, which you can get to via business.yelp.com as well. Businesses, once you claim your page, you can add as many photos as you want to your page for free. And here's kind of a quick checklist that I always recommend businesses make sure they have up there. Your team and your owner, again, putting a face to the business, especially over the last year, there's a comfort factor. If you have a service business and you're entering people's homes, show who those people are that they'll be interacting with. Exterior, which whether you're hard to find or not, I always recommend making sure that's there. So if people are driving down the road, trying to find you, they know what to look for. The services, the specialties. I've also seen businesses put up pictures of the awards they won or the certifications they have. One time I saw a business put up their best reviews. They made like an image featuring their best reviews, and they put those pictures up as well. And then captions, make sure you put captions with your photos. Those are available in search. So going back to, you have a main dish or something you want to be known for, make sure that's in your photo captions. Also, as a side, when I go to restaurants and, we're very visual people. So sliding through and I see a dish that I really like, but I have no idea what it is because there's no caption to it. Give as much information as possible. Make it as easy as possible for people to come to your business. If you see photos that are no longer applicable, maybe it's a old location, you can always flag those, and that goes to HQ and they decide if they come down or not, but it doesn't hurt to flag those and then update. If you have new services that come on, new food, new items, set aside, I always recommend businesses set aside time at least once a month, even if it's just 5 to 10 minutes, that they kind of do an audit of their review page, much like maybe they do other review pages or social media too. Make sure everything is up to date and looking good. Communicating during COVID, knock on wood, COVID's almost over, fingers crossed. But there are, I think, some lessons to take from this, and also some consumer behaviors that are going to stick with us even after, it's quote unquote over. And so some of the things to make sure that's expressed in your business pages, again, your hours, your offerings, cleanliness, any safety measures, even, ongoing virtual services, best way to contact you, best how to make a purchase, all this kind of got thrown up in the air over the last year. And so give people as much information as possible. When COVID came about, Yelp put these COVID banners are free to use for any business. And even though it's almost over, I mean, this is valuable real estate at the top of your review page that you can get your message across, that you can talk about what's new with your business. So if you're opening, if you're expanding capacity, this can be a way to do that. Or if you're just have something, this is real estate. I'm not sure how long Yelp is going to have these up, but while they're up, I definitely recommend you use them. Also, if you haven't updated this since April of last year, go back and look. There are some places I know that, I've been to, or some pages where they haven't updated it since then, and it still talks about having reduced capacity or closing, and they're open now. So go back and see what's there, and kind of use this to your benefit. You can also indicate what services you offer, takeout, delivery, all of these, takeout and delivery is not going to go away anytime soon, even though maybe, contactless delivery is not as important as before. But people are definitely searching for takeout and delivery options. So I would, with outdoor seating, drive-through, those are all still huge. And so I would make sure that those are indicated, which you can on your profile for free. And this is what it looks like, for example, with Fonte's Coffee here in Louisville. If you go to their page, it says their updated services, also health and safety measures. Some quick recommendations when it comes to COVID precautions and whatnot. Again, add photos of your staff, put a face to your business. Especially if you're going to enter people's homes, they can see your staff in another home. It helps them more easily picture them in your own home, in their own home. Make sure hours are up to date. So if people are searching for open now, you're showing up in the search. Update that COVID banner, indicate if you're temporarily closed or have special hours. Respond to reviews that mention your COVID precautions, which I'll go through here in a sec on how to respond to reviews. But if it's a great review that lauded you for what you were doing, feel free to respond to it and thank them for spreading the word, but also highlighting maybe what you're doing now. And similarly, if it was a negative review, highlight what it's like now to come to your business. And then enable messaging and or request a quote. It's just something, since over the last year, home services in particular on Yelp have skyrocketed. And a lot of that also is going back to request a quote. So people can request a quote from your business right from the Yelp app. They can request a quote from several businesses at once. It depends on the business category if this is enabled. But it's another way to kind of close that loop a little bit faster. So people hopefully come to your business. I know I've used this most recently. I needed a fencing company, and I was able to send the details of the job out to, I think, 5 or 6 that I selected at once, and I'm picking from that group. And it took a lot less time than calling 5 or 6 companies individually. And then real quick, reviews. And in general with this, 53% of consumers expect to receive a review response, and businesses that respond see a 10% typically upgrade in general in star rating on Yelp. So even if you don't get that person back, maybe you respond to the review, you could be helping get other people in the door. And then one misconception a lot of people have about Yelp is just that most people go on Yelp to write negative reviews. As you can see here, almost 80% of reviews are neutral to positive. There are more 1, 2, 3, and actually 4 star reviews combined than 5. I pulled this morning. This graphic was from the end of Q1 of this year. And one thing that was interesting that came out was in 2020, the rate of mention of words of gratitude within reviews was up 32%, and the average rating among elite users rose to 4.12 stars. So people are coming to Yelp to celebrate businesses. They appreciate what businesses are going through, most of them. And, so this is your chance to enter the conversation with those customers. Another misconception is that, with reviews, businesses have no control over that. They just kind of have to let the reviews wash over them. But this is a great way to enter the conversation with your customers, and hopefully turn maybe a first-time customer or a customer that had a bad experience into a more regular customer. You can see some of the statistics on the right, but in general, what I tell businesses when they get reviews is look for the trends, good and bad. And then from there, you can strategize a response plan. Also, here, go to the next slide. So this book in particular, I very much recommend. This book, as well as another great book I like called, which I have on my desk, Everyone's a Critic. It talks about how customers and how businesses view reviews very differently. You could have, your business could have 100 5-star reviews, and those 1 to 2 1-star reviews will just forever pick at you. And, I get it. On the flip side of that, though, take comfort in knowing customers don't look at reviews in the same way, especially if you have 100 reviews. They expect a business to have negative reviews. And in general, 4-star reviews or 4-star businesses on Yelp make more money than 5-star businesses, just because people tend to trust it more if they see some bad reviews. They feel like they're getting the full picture of what they would, of the experience to expect with that business. So take comfort in that fact. Everybody gets bad reviews. You can't please 100% of people all the time. And in general, again, look for trends when it comes to thinking about how this could impact your business. You can respond to reviews in 1 of 2 ways: a public comment or direct message. This is free to do. And if anybody wants help crafting how to respond, happy to help with that. My big suggestion is always, what is the main message of your business, and put that in your response. You want to believe people that, people, when they read the reviews, they'll read the bad or the review first, good or bad, and your response second. So you want to leave with your response a good taste in people's, mouths, and reiterate what you want people to take away about your business. So positive, I would always recommend people respond to their positive reviews as well. Someone took the time out to write about their experience in the hopes of getting other people to your business. So if it's just to thank them, you could use responding to reviews as a way to highlight if they, mention that dish that you want people to know about, or your great customer service. Tell them thank you for highlighting that, which also goes to highlight it for the next person that reads your response. And a little bit different, Yelp treats review, they don't want businesses to ask for reviews. We found that people get we've seen the most high quality reviews and helpful reviews when businesses focus more on customer service, which is the biggest thing that shows up in 1 and 5-star reviews. Focus on that, and the reviews typically flow from there. Yeah, and but there's still some ways you can lay some breadcrumbs to get people to think about writing a review. Like amplify the positivity, share your good reviews on social media, on your website. Also ask in the book, Everyone's a Critic. It talks about, asking people how they found your business. If they said they found it through reviews, tell them how important that feedback is, just so it kind of keeps sharing that word top of mind as a person goes forward. On the left here, you can, if you want a Yelp sticker for your business, happy to help with that. There's coding that makes it really easy to embed reviews into your website. On the bottom is Taco Luchador and then Muscle and Burger Bar, and they put some of their good reviews on signs on their sidewalk. I've seen other businesses that'll print off each great review and have a spot on their wall. So people walk in, they just see this wall covered in paper. That's all the praise that they've gotten. Can be a fun way to do that. I think Anne's going to talk a little bit about check-in offers, which is free to enable on your page too. And the cool thing with that is when you encourage people to check in, one, it reaches out to the most active users on Yelp, our Yelp elites. But also when that person comes back to either the Yelp site, they'll get, your next review awaits and a reminder of where they've been. Yelp also sends out emails saying, you've been to these places. Would you like to write a review? So in a way, Yelp asks for someone to write a review. And real quick, I'll have a couple more slides here. Resources, Yelp blog has built out a ton with resources specifically for business owners. There's also on Instagram, you can see these handles here that regularly update and have great information. You should also follow Yelp Louisville on Instagram too, I'll point out there. And then Behind the Review is a podcast started with Yelp and entrepreneur.com last year that features business owners talking about their experience with reviews. I think they're 15 to 20 minute usually. episodes, easily to digest with lots of just great insights, not only about Yelp or reviews, but just about businesses in general. I know the last episode delved into negative reviews and how to respond to them, which was really neat to listen to. I just thought there, another big part of my job is to host events. A lot of our events are for our Yelp Elite Squad, who are most kind of active and influential on the site. Also do events anybody can come to. These are some of the businesses we did with our Hot and New and Lou event series last year and earlier this year. Also doing one right now called Yelp's Lou Adventure Challenge, which focuses on local attractions, and our events are always free for businesses to work with us on. I try to, when with the business, talk about what is the message that you want to get across to people. And I put together an event around that. And really the more out there, the better. I've done events in car dealership service bays. We had a drive-in movie themed event once. That was really fun. I just surpassed 250 reviews in my time with, or 250 events, my time with Yelp. They really range. So always, and now as of last month, we're starting with in-person events as we had done my previous many years with Yelp. So getting back to that. So if you're ever interested, please reach out. And there's my information again. Louisville@yelp.com always comes to me. And so always happy to help from there. So if anybody has any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. And I think I'm going to bring on Anne if you want, and I'll stop sharing my screen. And we're going to have Anne and Dawn kind of talk about their experiences with Yelp. And so first, Anne Shadle with Mayan Cafe, as well as the Small Business Development Center. Hi, do you want to talk just a little bit about your experiences?
Sure. Yes. It's good to see you, Emily. I've been a big fan of yours for years, and I will give a plug to anybody who's watching. If you feel like you need some more guidance beyond this quick presentation, Emily is an excellent resource as far as like how to really kind of get in there and make sure that you're taking most advantage of everything behind the scenes. I have two hats, as you've said. So I see things from my own perspective as a business owner who's used Yelp and has been a huge proponent of Yelp. I'll be frank about that over the years for quite some time now. And then also experiencing it from my business coach perspective and talking to other, business owners, be that in the restaurant industry or in different retail industries or anybody else who's able to use Yelp. So I can see the benefits from a couple different perspectives. So just a couple tips that I've seen that are some of my favorite elements of being able to use Yelp is, as Emily mentioned, the check-in offer is kind of my number one thing. So the check-in offer is something on the back end. It's a free tool, and when the customer checks into your business, it unlocks something that whatever it is that you allow them to have. So at our place, one of our side dishes, our lima beans, is like this kind of big buzz piece of things. It's a bizarre thing to be known for, but it is what it is. So it's a traditional Mayan recipe for roasting the lima beans. So you get a free side of lima beans if you check in, and then it captures data. Yelp captures data on how many people have then used that offer. So I've had it up on a Yelp page for a long time. I looked at my stats earlier today, and I've had over 2,000 people check in and claim that offer over the years. So there was a shorter period of time in which I was tracking the data pretty closely and could say, based on real numbers, I get a table a day that comes in and checks in, so that they're here because of something having to do with Yelp. So I can't think of many other marketing avenues where I can know with such assurance that what I'm doing is bringing people in the door, and what I'm doing was free, right? Other than giving away a free side of lima beans, which we do if other people said they haven't had them before, a variety of different ways you can get free lima beans at Mayan Cafe. So that's just one thing that I think is really awesome. And then it encourages folks to then write reviews. It's a dish that people, if they haven't had it, they eat it and they're kind of surprised by it. So it makes them want to talk about it and then write that review. So if anybody has some kind of buzz item like that that's surprising, in their businesses, I say, particularly if it's a low ticket item like that, go for it. So that's one element. And then another piece, sort of category that I've really focused on over the years is in the space of the reviews. I've paid a lot of attention to 4-star reviews. I find that those folks have really valuable feedback. So that's a person who's generally liked everything, but maybe said, hey, your like bathrooms aren't awesome, which is true. So, you know, I've that it's feedback that I take really seriously. Sometimes you get a person who's, you know, given a 1 or 2-star review, and that's a person that I couldn't please, right? They're, you know, more that they're having a bad day rather than they had that we did anything wrong as I sort of analyze the experience. But in that space of the 4-star reviews, it's like, yeah, actually this person's really trying to deliver something that's like, if you had tweaked this would have really, you know, taken the experience up a notch. And so I think that that's really valuable feedback. So I've encouraged business owners to sort by their 4-star reviews and go through and really take what they can implement into their business to heart from that. And then the other side is just, you had mentioned this, Emily, the idea of responding to all your reviews, that this is a 2-sided conversation. I mean, the complaint that I get when I talk to other business owners is that they feel this is happening to them, the reviews are happening to them outside of their control. And so I think when you step in the game, respond to the reviews, the positive ones, in addition to the negative ones, what ends up happening is it changes your relationship with the review process, because you're responding to positive ones, not just the negative ones. Because if you only respond to the negative ones, then your only experience with it is having to respond to negative reviews, right? So if you balance it out and look at everything that people are saying about you, you can then kind of enjoy it. You know, if the 80% positive reviews, 20% negative, you get a more balanced approach to it. But I do think that it puts you kind of back in the driver's seat. It's like, hey, I can respond to them and say, I'm sorry for X. You know, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it. Please let us know if you don't enjoy something in the future. We're happy to, you know, take that dish off your bill or whatever. So I do think there's a lot of value in building a system into your own rhythm as the business owner or manager to respond to all of the reviews, whether it's once a month or as they come in every week, whatever. But I think that there's real value there. I could go on, but I'm going to stop, and I'm going to let Dawn hop in and share her experiences.
Good afternoon. I feel like I have learned a lot. So thank you, Emily, for asking me to participate today. So Georgia, we have been we've been a partner of Yelp probably for a couple of years now. So I think we started about 2017. And so we actually started using Yelp, the platform, more for like receiving like reviews, and then also responding to like telephone calls and emails. We have a lot of customers that actually will contact us through the Yelp app. So that has really been beneficial, especially in the beginning when we didn't have a brick and mortar, and we was, you know, customer was always email or call us, want to know which farmers market could they find us at. So that really helped us as being a mobile business in the beginning. And then we started participating or being a part of the Yelp Elite events. And so we did a couple of those events when they was in person, which really helped our business because it actually introduced us to a whole new clientele of customers that had never heard about us. And then also what we would do with these Yelp Elite events, we would bring like new items, and we would bring them as a tester to kind of see, with the community, how's the community feeling? Do they like the sweet potato bites, or, should we try something else? And one thing I will say about the Yelp Elite members, they always, I feel, give you their honest feedback. And so, which I appreciated. So, and then last year, which was really great, we was able to participate in a virtual Yelp event, which actually introduced our company to people all over the country. I believe we had people from Texas, California, Georgia, and they all participated in a cooking demo that we did. And we was actually able to collaborate with another small business. So that's one of the things I do appreciate as a small business owner, that Emily always find ways to bring different small businesses together to be able to collaborate and come up with great ideas and great events. And then also we did another event, which ended up bringing us some more new clientele to our new building we have. And we did an event, like I believe it was maybe like earlier this year, which actually opened the door to introduce us to some additional people. So now, and a lot of those customers actually now continue to shop with us. So for us, we really haven't got into the check-in piece yet. We really, I was listening to all these great ideas and I'm taking notes. So I'm thinking, oh man, I need to add all of these things to what we're doing. But for us, I really focus on the reviews. And so when I respond, like I said, all the reviews, and good or bad. And then also just encouraging people to, I can, they really don't want us to ask people to give reviews, but I do ask people, please, hey, go spread the word, tell all your friends about us. And what I have noticed that most of our Yelp reviewers, they always take pictures, which also helps because they will take pictures while they're in the shop to show, to be able to post with their review. So that have also really have helped our company.
Look, can I put both of you on like a billboard or something? Like, I don't know. You're gonna leave me feeling so good after this. I love it. Yeah, and if anybody did, Dawn is owner of Georgia Sweet Potato Pie Company. So sorry if that got missed in the beginning. But amazing. Go there, always good. And I know Dawn now has I think of sandwiches and all sorts of fun stuff. So love all this. Yeah, and I think one thing, it was neat to speak to like the event side of it. What we did earlier this year, it was kind of a grab and go type. We've been calling them Yelp experiences since we couldn't have a full event. And so it got people into the business in a easy way without a lot of other people around. We put together warm and cozy kits. And so they got a candle from Georgia's, and worked with Louisville or Fleur de Tea. And so they got tea, and I had Yelp gloves. And so again, we try to be as creative as possible. How can we get this message out there that you want to express? That's awesome. Well, if anybody has questions, again, please put them in the chat. And I was going to open it up at this point as kind of moderated discussion with the three of us. Again, give questions though. We want to hear what you want to hear about, but I guess.
Hey, Emily, I have a question. We've been talking about, and Dawn, I just want to say, Ann and everybody gave me a pie and some cupcakes from your place for my birthday about a month ago. So spot on, really good stuff. One of my favorites. In fact, that was kind of what I asked for. So they're very good. They're very good to me. So we've been talking a lot about food businesses, Emily. So what are the kind of companies that, kind of a Yelp campaign would be appropriate for? And then maybe just a dovetail on top of that, are there industries or companies that maybe Yelp is not a good fit for?
Good question. Yeah, in general, and I'm just pulling up because I want to have the most up-to-date statistics, but I'm on our yelp.com/fact sheet, which has all this. It comes out, it's updated every quarter. A lot of people think Yelp is just for restaurants, but actually tying restaurants for most reviewed businesses is home and local services, which both of those make up about 18% of our reviewed businesses on Yelp. After that is shopping. And so, yeah, we can, I would say, especially any business that has a brick and mortar, definitely, have a Yelp presence on there, home and local services, 100%. In terms of businesses that don't, but again, with the caveat of, if you would have asked me 5 years ago, if we would be moving more toward home and local business reviews, that was not, at least on, I know, my radar, and I think other people on Yelp. And so while it might not be a thing today, you never know, as the last year showed, what's going to happen. B2B businesses, yes and no, but I've seen some really great ones there really use their Yelp page, like printing businesses comes to mind. There was, I forget the name of the business, but like they actually have the pictures of some of the great things that they can produce. At the least, any business, I would say, and also people can add businesses to Yelp at any time. So even if you don't add your business, or if you haven't looked on Yelp, you might have reviews on there. Your business might be on there. I do an event with the Louisville Independent Business Alliance every year, and we would have these one-on-ones where people could sign up to talk about Yelp. And I would inevitably get a couple businesses saying, I'm not on Yelp. How do I get on Yelp? And then we'd look them up, and they have 12 reviews up there that they didn't even know they've had for years. And so again, that's conversation you could be a part of if you just kind of looked for it. And so kind of claim your page. So when someone writes a review, you know what it is. So it's not sitting out there, good or bad. Yeah. And going forward, in terms of events, again, we've been I did a virtual event earlier this year with a co-working space and a home life balance coach, which was really neat. On my dream list, if anybody is in this type of business, I really want to do an event with an interior decorator, like almost like a speed round where people submit their pictures ahead of time. Maybe, and this will probably work as a virtual event, but then like the interior decorator will give like 3 tips. And so it's kind of like a speed thing of looking at all these pictures and giving ideas for people. So yeah, there was one really cool event out of, I think, San Diego with a storage company. And so they almost like storage wars, like they would open up, granted, this was staged, like this wasn't someone's random storage unit that they would open up and show off, but like guess what's in the storage unit, you know, and a scavenger hunt within a storage unit space. And so people got to like explore, and it was really different and interesting. So yeah, throw it at me. I will figure out a way to make it a fun event for sure.
So here's a question for Anne and Don. So, you know, business owners are faced with a lot of choices. So they have to manage maybe their Facebook page and their website and on and on and on. How much time do each of you spend managing your Yelp page? I mean, how much time does this take to do what you do? Don, you want to start?
I will. To be honest, so I had to actually hire somebody to help me with my social media page just because of everything else to come along to being a business owner. So I actually probably spend maybe about an hour a month going in, and then I feel so bad because it might be a couple of weeks before I actually get to a review, but I will respond to all the reviews, but it might just be, you know, whenever that scheduled time once a month that I get to it. And then I will say I have my Yelp, Emily was talking about the Yelp business app. So I have that on my phone. So actually, so a lot of times it'll send me an alert saying I have a review. So a lot of times that day I will go in and fill it out. But if for some mean way I miss that alert, it'll be once I get to it at that scheduled time, like once a month. But I do have the app on my phone.
Yeah, I mean, your rhythm, Don, is really smart, you know, where it's like schedule yourself for, I mean, an hour a month, I think is plenty to respond to the reviews. You know, then once you get caught up with responding to the reviews, then you're just doing them one at a time. I mean, that takes like 5 minutes because you kind of get you get a consistency to your answers. And other than that, it's just like keeping the initial investment of time to set the page up, meaning to, you know, kind of put in some of your different information. And then I do think that Yelp has done a good job over the years of continuing to update those options in the back end. So, you know, maybe on that once a month time that you check on the back end and see if there is any additional features that you can connect with or load up a couple new pictures. But I mean, we're talking an hour a month or maybe, you know, 2 hours once at the initial outlay. It's not much time. When you add it with, if you're responding to Google reviews and Facebook reviews and TripAdvisor, now you may be getting to like 2 hours, but a month. I mean, it's not very much. It's pretty manageable amount of time.
And I will say, you will have some customers that if something on your Yelp page is not current, you will have some of your faithful customers that will send you a message, because I think like Emily said, like I think this month or last month, they came out with the Black owned you can add that to your Yelp account. I just probably missed it. I probably overlooked that email. And I actually had one of my customers actually, you know, inbox me and said, hey, and they actually screenshot the thing, said, hey, did you know? And I said, oh, well, thank you. So I actually went in and updated my Yelp account to say, okay, this is a Black owned business. So believe me, if you have some of your faithful customers, if something is not right on your social media or any of your review platforms, they will let you know.
Nice.
That's 100% true.
So I need to ask you guys this too. You know, I'm one of these exciting people that really love spreadsheets and watching trends and data and stuff. And I wonder do you guys kind of capture what you learn from Yelp and keep it in a separate way, in some way, so you can see, you know, how you're doing? Are you improving on time, or what kind of tools do you use to kind of capture that kind of information and make these changes?
Well, my answer will be really quick. I am not a numbers person. That's why I brought someone on my team to help me look at the back end of all of my social media platforms and all the analytics stuff. So I just pay someone to look at that and present the data to me because I'm going to be honest, I am not a numbers person.
I mean, it's a good question, Dave, as far as like, can you use Yelp to track over time if your customer service is getting better, if your food quality is getting better? And this is, essentially like qualitative data to validate that. I mean, I think you can, like, there's a decent amount of historical stuff on the back end that shows you like activity and how many people are coming to your page. I think you can sort reviews in certain date ranges. So, I mean, like, I think you definitely could in the way that I know how you would like to do it. I wouldn't say I haven't made that spreadsheet yet, but it sounds like maybe one that I could make. I think if you can create sort of like monthly rhythms with the Yelp the information you're getting from the reviews, I think that's really helpful. So in addition to the responding to the reviews, something I've done over the years is to have a practice of sharing information from reviews with my management team. So we would have consistent monthly manager meetings with the front of the house and the back of the house. And I would go through and read, 5 of the more recent reviews from that month. And things that would come out in that is that if I saw a dish that was mentioned in a not super positive light more than once, I would present that to the managers and say, have you guys eaten this dish? Right. And so like an example of an anecdote of something that came out of that was that exact situation. Managers were like, oh yeah, like we've made changes to that dish and we don't think that it's really that awesome anymore. And so our chef sat down and ate it and he was like, yeah, you're totally right. And so then we went and we changed the dish back to kind of the way it was and added some additional twist to it to make it better. But if we hadn't read those reviews to them, I mean, they all kind of knew that the dish had been changed and not for the better, but didn't want to like hurt our feelings and tell us. And so that gave them this encouragement to say, yeah, no, we should take a look at this. But I think it's really helpful to have rhythms of like reading the reviews yourself and then sharing them with your staff so they know that feedback and kind of corroborate it as well.
And I'll just put it like when you go on there and you claim your page, like the activity, you can go back 24 months. You can look at it at either 30-day, 12-month, or 24-month sections. You can look at the page visits as well as what Yelp calls leads, which is number of people like who have called you or have looked up directions. So taking specific action from your page. One thing that I really like, it also says about your audience. So Yelp users choose how much they want to put out there. So I have just my permission. So it'll say, Emily H in her 30s from Louisville, woman checked in at this page, whatever. If someone on the back end looked at the page that I checked in on, and also can go up to just say Yelp user. But what I've heard businesses use that for is, are you having a lot of out of town people look up your page on Yelp? And does that mean, is that who you want to be playing to? If so, you can make more of that, by advertising perhaps in a certain way or using your social media in a certain way. If that's not who you want to get to, if you're pulling in, if older people are looking at younger people and you want something different, that could kind of help you figure out how best to kind of refine your message in the marketing that you're doing.
Thank you. That's good. So Emily, what would you tell somebody that's that joined us today that hasn't claimed their page and they're thinking about it, but they think, well, I'm not too tech savvy. I mean, this seems overwhelming. What should I do?
Yeah, I mean, I would get it's, Yelp has really tried to make this user friendly. And so first things first, if you have no experience with Yelp, 100% claim your page and use the free tools first. So even if you want to use ads or whatever later, you have a foundation to know what's working, what kind of way to go with it. So 100% use the free tools if you haven't yet. If you get in there and you claim it and you're having trouble where to go next, or if we come in contact with sometimes like someone from the business will claim it and then they leave the company and then someone else wants to claim it and they can't because it was previously claimed, it kind of walks you through that. But if you need help with that or having trouble, reach out to me. So yeah, Louisville@yelp.com. Happy, I've sit down with many a business owner and kind of walk them through adding this and kind of making sense of it all. So hopefully it does set them up. So this isn't, business owners, obviously you wear like 15 different hats. So you're a marketer, you're along with being a chef or being a store owner or designer or whatever. And so, you know, I want to help make this as easy as possible so you can stay on top of it, but then it kind of gives you a good foundation going forward.
Awesome. Well, it looks like that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything you guys would like to add before we close out today?
Well, I know for me, what really helped me kind of understand what my customers was looking at, I actually, actually created my own personal Yelp page and started using it to, as I started looking for like businesses or different, if I needed help with remodeling. So it kind of gave me an idea, okay, this is what my customers, this is going to be their experience. And so that kind of helped me kind of understand, okay, this is how I need to set up my business Yelp page so they could have the same kind of experience that I would want to have when I'm using it as a consumer. So that's what I would just encourage people. Just don't be afraid, just play with it. Emily has been amazing. She has helped me from day one. And, you do have a lot of customers that actually will look you up on Yelp and will make a review and post pictures. So you might as well own that and be able to control your narrative.
Yeah, I mean, I'll hop in and say that I think that we've gained more new customers from Yelp than, nearly anything else over the years. So, and it's, I guess, probably more out of town folks, people that are traveling, coming into the city and using that to look for places to go to eat. But I talk with a fair amount of business owners who sort of have this defensive posture against, the kind of person who's going to leave a negative Yelp review versus sharing the information directly with the business owner. And so I really try and encourage people to learn how to respond to that, handle it kind of internally and not let it prohibit them from gaining all of the value that can be gained from this platform, from the conversation that can be had, and from the business that they can gain new sales, on such a consistent basis. So I think it's worth pushing through some of that stuff to get to the really good things that come from the connection to Yelp.
Yeah. One thing, when I talk to businesses, that fear, but every customer that comes through has opinions. And I would if I were a business owner, much rather know what those opinions were, hopefully more good than bad, rather than them leaving, having a negative experience, potentially telling all their friends, and I never have an opportunity to fix that. And so, if it helps give you some measure of comfort, thinking of it that way, thinking that, all businesses get bad reviews. And again, it's an opportunity to enter the conversation with them. These are people who sought out your business specifically. And more times than not, 80% of the time, they want to celebrate that business. They want to help bring other people to you. So embrace that. Don't be scared of that. And again, if anybody ever needs help, LouisvilleYelp.com and also at Yelp Louisville on social media, definitely here to help.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. So Emily Hagedorn from Yelp. So I encourage everyone to reach out to Emily if you have any trouble. And then Ann Shadle, the Mayan Cafe. Best lima beans in town. And there's another dish that I like to get, which I can't remember the name of it, but it has the egg on top. I know what you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about there. And then Don from Georgia's best sweet potato pie ever. Best ever. And then make sure you buy this sweet potato ice cream to go with it, because you have to have the two together. So please check those folks out. Well, thanks for joining us today. It was great to see everybody, and we'll send you a link to the replay so you can watch this over and over again. And please take advantage of these resources. And if we can help you, go to LouisvilleSmallBusiness.com. We'd be happy to help you if we can. So we'll see you on the next Toolkit Tuesday. Thanks, everybody.